How we doing, folks? Welcome back to another episode of Maidencast, and this is a special episode. We're trying something new this week, and we are joined by Carl Williams of Iron Maiden, but not Iron with an R. There, another way of spelling it. Iron Maiden are a Iron Maiden tribute group, and they've just done a sold-out show at the Cart and Horses, and we saw Carl at the Paul Di'Anno Memorial gig at the Underworld, and thought he did a great job and invited him on the show. And we're just here to talk about Iron Maiden, Iron Maiden Fully Charged, and just have a general chat about the Irons in general. So let's see where tonight goes. How are we doing, folks?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Fantastic. Luke?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Just welcome to the show, Carl. Welcome to the madness.
Thank you.
I say you've watched an episode, haven't you? And you still managed to come on. So
yeah.
You're a glutton for punishment, mate. I tell you. But no,
he's got low standards, so we like that.
We have a bit of banter on here. We go off on the tangents and we just chat about obviously the greatest band that's ever picked up instruments. So
well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
cool.
I was thinking of another. I was going to throw a curveball in there. But I couldn't think of one, so I'm not going to bother.
Don't go on tangents just yet, mate. Fucking hell, you know?
So, Iron Maiden Fully Charged just did a sold-out show at the Cart and Horses. I guess that's a good place to start. How did the show go?
It was absolutely fantastic. We get the unofficial fan club turn up there. It's almost like now the Cart and Horses is a local pub. A local venue. We go there. We blow the roof off pretty much. It's a fantastic band to be in. The crowd love us. We love the crowd. It was just amazing. And as always, it was an amazing night. And the tickets were released yesterday for November 22nd next year, and they're 40% sold already.
Right, get in there, folks. Well,
they love it in there, don't they? The Cart and Horses. It's just we've been there. Been there a couple of times, haven't we? Once before the revamp and once after, and it's just an awesome place.
Yeah.
We were just chatting before we come online, and Carl was at the signing session with Paul.
Oh, nice.
So he said, "I thought I recognised you too," but
yeah.
But that was funny because he didn't do a gig in the UK for like well over a decade before that day. And the fact that Q was going around the corner and everyone was, I don't know who was advising him or not to do gigs in the UK. I don't know if maybe he must have done a tour where the ticket sales were low. I don't know, but whatever it was.
It was.
People were certainly glad to see him. And then obviously last year where he did like 4 sold out shows in London alone.
Yeah, when he sort of really got back on it, didn't he? And when he obviously got the support with KK's Priest, I mean, he was going down a storm. People were loving it, and it weren't just because it was Paul Di'Anno, it's because he's banging out these tunes, isn't he? And he's even in the predicament he was in, he was still giving it 100%, wasn't he? Still being that geezer that we all know and love. And like you say,
well, it was like when he hit that high note and held it during Roughchild, and like you and me just looked at each other like,
yeah, it was mad.
He's still. So Carl, tell us what you was just saying before we started recording that you approached Paul with an idea for a show.
It was something the Ion guys wanted to do. And while I was up there, I got a message from one of them asking me if they think he might be interested. So I was like, I'm going to ask him, because I was chatting to him quite a lot throughout the day. And when he was sat outside, he was having a fag outside. And I put the idea to him of a few one-off shows possibly called the Clive Years, where he would sing songs with Ion Maiden off his 2 albums, and I do the Bruce songs, so covering the songs of the Clive Years. And he was like, yeah, I'll do that. He said, speak to Stefan Duras, his manager. I spoke to him, and the idea was to try and sort something out for end of 2025, sometime 2026, hopefully. But obviously, sadly, now that can't happen.
But that's a cool, because that's a cool idea, because you quite often hear about obviously doing singers, like doing the singing years, like the Paul Di'Anno years. But Clive Burr, an integral part of Maiden, and obviously played on not just those first two albums that Paul made famous, but
Yeah,
on Number of the Beast as well. He was part of the lineup that arguably took metal to the next level.
yeah, yeah. And our
People do
drummer
tend
Craig,
to forget. Yeah.
our drummer Craig, he is, I mean, he is a Clive Burr. He's his hero. He loves Nico as well, but Clive Burr is Craig's absolute hero. He's got his drum kit modelled on him. He's got
Really? Oh, that's
he's
mad.
like plays like Clive.
That's mad because obviously I'm a drummer as well, and obviously I was, Clive was a big influence, but I've grown up. I'm a Nico fanatic, and but it was weird because Clive's parts I didn't like what he wrote. There was no denying he was a fantastic player when you see him play live and what he played, but it was something about the way he wrote. I just, me personally, I couldn't get my head around it. It was like, why is he doing that? But that's what set him apart from so many others because he'd do
Yeah,
something out of left field that you wouldn't think of. And he was a phenomenal player.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
tell us how Iron Maiden, I'm trying to say Ion, Ion Maiden, got started. Was you involved from the ground up, or was it a band that was already that you joined? And how did you get into singing, or were you in bands beforehand? Tell us a bit of your history.
Well, here we go. Um, I've never sang before until about 7 years ago, really. Um, I spent I spent a long time in the army, and when I left the army, I bought a pub in Weymouth. However, in my last couple of years in the army, we went to a family funeral in Bath, and the night before, a few of us, my wife and a couple of others, went to a karaoke bar. And I would never hold a microphone. I wouldn't do it because I couldn't sing in my eyes. However, we used to go to some karaoke bars. And I'd look at the books, thinking, "Oh, look at those, look at all the Maiden, look at the Sabbath, the Saxon. Who's going to get up and sing some? I'd love to hear someone sing this." Anyway, on this particular night, we were there, and the book was full of Maiden, and there was full of people as well. The pub was this bar, and I could hear "Different World" starting up in the background. And I was like, "Wow, who's doing that?" My wife stuck the microphone in my hand in front of everybody, and I didn't know where to go.
Sink
Um,
or swim.
she'd she'd heard me singing in the shower in the car, and she said, "You sound like that guy on your record. You sound like the guy from Maiden." I was like, "No, no, I don't. No, I don't." Anyway, we went to this karaoke bar, and I did "Different World" as it started up, and then I had the buzz, and then he put 2 minutes to midnight on, and I stayed up on stage. I did that. Then I think I did "Can I Play a Madness," "The Evil That Men Do," and "Children of the Damned," and I just didn't want to stop. And the place just erupted. They went mad, and he went to me, "Wow, mate!" He goes, "Do you want a job?" I said, "Doing what?" He said, "There's a Maiden." Now this was in 2011. He says, "A Maiden tribute from where I live has just lost his singer." He goes, "You'd be amazing." I said, "I'm in the army. I can't do it." So I forgot all about it. Just left it there. A few years later, when I had my pub, we used to have this local legend called Cheryl Lee would come and sing in the pub. She'd do karaoke and disco. She's unfortunately passed away now this year. Um, she'd come to the pub and do her shows, and her and my wife Heidi were chatting, and I could hear Cheryl saying to my pub full of people, "Apparently our landlord Carr can sing." And I went, "Apparently he can't." So it was like from the window around like a Mexican wave, Carr, and I was like, "Ah." Oh. So I got up, I think it was "The Evil That Men Do" and "Run to the Hills," and all my punters in my pub were just like, "Oh my God," because they weren't used to metal in my pub, and all of a sudden this little landlord comes out singing it. They were like, "Oh my God."
And
And then
you're not picking easy songs either, are you? You're picking full throated Bruce,
yeah,
full bifters. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you know,
yeah. And then as time went on, then I used to have rock bands come to the pub, and I used to have karaoke's in the pub. And my go-to song then, when I got a bit of confidence, was to sing "House of the Rising Sun," and my punters loved it. And then I used to have a couple of bands come in. "Carl, do you want to sing the Trooper with us? Do you want to do Paranoid? Do you want to do this?" And I'd be like, "All right, then," with a live band. Jesus, I was shitting myself. Anyway, I did it. I did "Run to the Hills" one night, and they loved it. Um, as time went on, then my wife Heidi said to me, "Why don't you do your own Iron Maiden show?" I said, "I want to get a band, but I don't think I got the guts to do it." She goes, "Do your own Iron Maiden show." So I thought, "How am I going to do this?" So I bought a disco, and I set the speakers up and on my laptop, me being Mr. Not Technical, I made a set list off YouTube. And so what I would do is as the songs are playing on the guitar solo, I'd get down behind my laptop, type in the next song, ready to press play as soon as that song finished. So I modeled this set on Live After Death, Made in England, with a couple of others sprinkled into it. I did the first three songs, Aces High, Two Missing Midnight, and The Trooper. Really got confident, and I was loving it. Spoke to the crowd as boosted to Long Beach Arena. Nice to see you, nice, bloody, 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 blah. Press play for Revelations. I didn't know YouTube did adverts. Tampax. Tampax. I was like, oh no. But my punters loved it in the pub, and the night went mad. And I called it Maiden the Park because my pub was called the Park, the Park Hotel. So I did 8.5 of those. The half was I then formed my band, Ion Maiden. So it was a sort of a hush hush that the band was starting. We had the instruments set up with blue sheets looking like the Seventh Son of a Seventh Son stage set. I did the first 10 songs of Maiden in the Park. The lights went off, sheets got pulled, Churchill's speech, Aces High from the band, and it was phenomenal. So then we played numerous gigs around the South and started to travel around the country. I got approached by Ion Maiden. The drummer Craig messaged me March 2022, one Sunday night, asking if I was interested in joining. Didn't know what to do because I was in Ireland and I didn't want to leave my band. So I thought, why not? Let's go for it. What's the worst that can happen? I know the songs. So it was literally a case of on the 8th of April, 2022, me and my wife drove to Birmingham, the Billsley Rock Club. Shook hands, plugged in, sound checked, gigged. Never even met him before, and it just blew the place apart. And as time went on, I quit my own band, the one I started for various reasons. Quit them in August. Continued with Ion. The venues we're getting offered, I haven't got a sort of. I don't have to now look at my calendar. I can just say, yeah, I'm available. Let's do it. And some of the venues we play now is just, and next year's Rand. We're booking 2026. It's just amazing. And that's how I started. Well, I got into Maiden when I was 7.5 years old. But that's another story.
Yeah, we'll get on to that.
No, brilliant. Glad it's obviously that's the thing with tribute bands because they go where the main band fears to tread almost. You know, nothing's off limits for a tribute band, is it? Whereas Maiden, obviously, we know they're very regimented with their set list. It's this. They might. But there's been tales of like they'll do a set list on the first night and then one song wouldn't appear on the second night because Steve's like, nah, didn't work, fuck it. But with the tribute band, it's like, no, let's play Lost for Words. Let's play, you know, The Man Who Would Be King. Let's do anything, and it's amazing. And I think that's why it's, you know, there can be 10 tribute bands and they could all play the same venue 10 nights in a row and all sell out because it's going to be a different set list, a different feel, and it's I love it.
It seems different bands tend to focus on different eras of the band, don't they?
Yeah. I always touch base with the guys and say, "What do you reckon?" But I usually when we're doing the set lists, and it's nice to. I mean, we're starting to get some newer stuff in the set now, like we do the Writing on the Wall, Wicker Man, things like that. But the guys before I joined mainly concentrated on everything up to Fear the Dark. I think it's nice because lots of people ask us for new stuff as well, but I think it's nice to have a mainly older set with a sprinkle of new stuff on top of it. And it just keeps everybody happy then.
Yeah,
I guess if I was to ever do one, I think I would go the opposite. I would do a newer set with the classics dropped in at regular intervals, sort of thing, to break it up. Because we quite often debate, don't we, about New Maiden or Old Maiden or, you know, Blaze Maiden. And I've been into Maiden since I was 3. It was 1982. My dad had Number of the Beast, and I remember one of my earliest memories. I was on the sofa with a pen in my hand singing Run to the Hills, you know, 3 years old. And it just sort of grew from there. And obviously that's the formation for me. But as when X Factor came out and Maiden started, they changed obviously, and that got more proggy, and that really hooked me. Not that
Yeah,
I wasn't hooked anyway, but the proggy stuff really took me to the next level. And I
yeah.
know me and Joe, we row all day over over what's best. But
I can't pick a favorite Maiden song. I'd feel disloyal to them.
oh yeah, I can't. I think I cheated Joe because we were supposed to be doing our top five albums, and I couldn't do it. I just did top five albums in chronological order. I couldn't pick the order.
I've got a favorite version of a song, and
All
that
right.
is "Hallowed Be Thy Name" at Long Beach Arena.
Yeah, say the live version.
And the guitar tones are just, I think it's just beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think the live ones you can always pick your from your certain release or the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever. There's always one that sticks. For me,
Yeah,
like most of the Rock in Rio stuff for me is the definitive live versions of stuff because the band were truly reinvigorated. Now, Bruce was back, Adrian was back, Steve and all the rest of them had been
Yeah, they
there.
had
They had a new
extra
lease of
spring in their
life,
step, didn't they?
and it was amazing that show, absolutely amazing.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
It's funny with the. It seems like the world of the tribute band has now sort of become a genre. Genre, is that the right word? I guess another subculture within the music scene. And I speak to bands that are doing original material now, and they go like, we just can't get a gig. All people that seem to be interested in is tribute bands. But there seems to be a. Is there an intense? Is there a competition between the bands, or do you tend to just tip your hat and help each other out?
Bands are the same type, like Maiden tribute bands. They tend to get on well, and there's obviously a bit of rivalry about, because some bands don't like it because they think you're encroaching on their territory or on where they come from as such. Um, but it's usually okay. It's just one or two individuals don't like it, and just got to brush it to the side and get on with it, really.
Yeah,
And one venue, all Maiden tribute bands plays the Cart and Horses,
Yeah,
so they can't argue about that one.
no, that's it.
But I don't think. Okay, I live in Weymouth. I think if a Maiden tribute band from up north was to come and play in the venue I play in Weymouth, I wouldn't be too happy about that because that's my local venue as such. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
get that.
but as for anywhere out of like a 15, 20-mile radius, it's free game, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
and the venues pick what bands they want. The bands don't choose what venues they want to play at. It's the
No,
venues.
that's it, isn't it? With all the best will in the world, it's the venues who have the final
I
say.
think
So it's a
yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, well, I've entertained the idea of doing just the Arno years and things like that. It's you see as well. I don't know when you're doing a band and you're playing that music or you're focusing on a particular album or something like that. But I think when the guy comes out literally dressed as actual Rose, it gets a bit, you know.
oh yeah,
But but I think the best thing anyone can do is just try the best they can to replicate
Yeah.
an arena show in a club. That's the best
Yeah.
you can do. And I think with tickets just getting just unaffordable now, like it is getting to
oh
the
yeah. I
point
mean,
where
I was waiting for. I was going
um
to bring that up if you didn't. It's like I think that's why tribute bands are so popular because you know Maiden are one of the best at keeping their prices low. But even that for London Stadium is still like £100 a ticket. So they're not ripping people off. I mean, that is just the going rate. But
I mean, but
when you can see a tribute band for £15 playing songs that you've never dreamed of being played live, I think that's why its popularity's gone through the roof.
yeah, well there was a time when Limehouse Lizzie and Scott Gorham sort of rebooting Thin Lizzy with the new lineup kind of pulled the carpet out of their under their feet, so to speak, because they were really starting to gain ground. And
Oh,
at
they were
one point,
massive, weren't they?
they were even getting like best live band in regular music magazines, like with you know, this is meant to be stuff that artists that are
Yeah.
writing their own material and stuff like that. Best live band, Limehouse Lizzie, and there was a thing as well. Like there was a I can't remember what they were called, but they were a Rolling Stones tribute group, and they were saying, "Don't bother wasting your money watching these Stones. Watch these because it's in a smaller venue and it has that gritty feel that the Stones were originally meant to have, and they have a better selection of songs. You're not just watching the same 14 songs that played over and over again, you know. And I think if you take that approach to it, take the fans' approach, and give the sort of fans the 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 ideal set list that the band aren't, people want rarities, don't they? And
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we did on Saturday at the Cart and Horses. We did. I dressed a little bit like Paul Diano as well because we're doing like almost like a tribute. It was a tribute to him without being a tribute to him as
you
such.
would have had to have tipped your hat, yeah.
Yeah.
So we opened up with Rothschild, and for the first 6 songs I was wearing a leather jacket. So I was after a song and a half I was boiling up anyway.
It's so
We did
sweating.
yeah, we did Rothschild, 2 Minutes of Midnight, and Die With Your Boots On. First three.
Nice.
Then we did Infinite Dreams, Writing on the Wall, Wasted Years, took my leather jacket off, put my Trooper tunic on, doubly hot. Did the Trooper, and after the Trooper, then I was into black silky shirts, studded wristbands, leather trousers. Done about 7 or 8 Bordiano songs straight off. We did
Nice.
Prowler, Murders in the Rue Morgue, Another Life, Phantom of the Opera, Remember Tomorrow, Drifter. Then we went back to Hallowed by Thy Name, Fear the Dark, Iron Maiden. Then we did Number the Beast, Run to the Hills, and we finished off with I've Got the Fire.
Nice, yeah.
Nice.
And the
Fucking
place
hell.
erupted. They were
Yeah.
loving it.
That, if you can get hold of it, because there is like an unofficial version of Maiden Japan, isn't there?
Yeah,
And
they did it, didn't they?
yeah, and the closing track is "I Got the Fire." That's
That's the thing. I think if
that's
you
one of my favorite Maiden albums as well, live
It's on
albums
the B
anyway.
side of Sanctuary. It's live on the B side of Sanctuary, and then Bruce did it
Thanks.
on the B side of Flight of Icarus.
yeah. Yeah, I think all those B sides, I think you could, depending on if you pick your right, you could do a set of just the Maiden B sides, and they would
Yeah,
go down a storm. And
yeah,
Rainbow's Gold and stuff like that. They're all ingrained in Maiden folklore, aren't they? Because Maiden covered them, and probably so many kids, say kids at the time, but we never knew the bands who they were covering, and they've gone back and discovered bands because of Maiden. But I
yeah.
think you could do 5 or 6 of the covers, and no one would bat an eyelid. People would be like, "Fuck yeah."
I tell you what was a great one to do, and we've done it a few times. We dropped it now for a while, and we will bring it back. Some venues loved it, but some venues where they were just there's like lots of venues. It's like it can be 100% Maiden fans turn up, or it can be 50% Maiden fans and 50% rock fans who've heard the odd Maiden classic, so they're not quite sure
Right.
what to expect.
Yeah,
Some songs go down really well, then some songs sort of they like it, but they're not as enthusiastic. One of them is Total Eclipse. Love singing it. Epic song for
oh,
every reason.
it's a
But
brilliant song.
there's some venues where they're like, never heard that. Right, okay.
Yeah, and then other
Yeah,
ones that'd be like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The so I mean, is it safe to say that? Like, do you do the band full time now? Then, like, if you say you're fully booked next year, or do you do it like
Just
just Friday
weekends.
and Saturday every week? Like,
It's just
or
Friday and Saturday, yeah. Yeah, just
Yeah.
yeah, got
So,
me normal job in
so that's
Weymouth.
your weekend and your annual leave zapped, isn't it? Because like you're working in Weymouth or wherever, and then oh yeah, we got a gig in Northampton or we got a gig in Newcastle. Like, oh, fucking hell, there
Well, my
goes.
amazing. I work 8 to 5 Monday to Thursday. I work 8 to 1 on a Friday, but I can go in early if I want. I can go in early and finish early. Then I usually travel up to Cheddar then to our guitarists, and then we travel then together to the various gigs. Or sometimes if I
Yeah,
take my wife, me and my wife go.
yeah, make a
So
road trip out of
Friday
it. Yeah,
afternoons,
nice.
if she finishes work early, she comes with me. If she doesn't, I go up with Neil, the guitarist, and then we just travel together. And it's jolly boys weekend. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah,
oh, sounds like got a perfect little setup.
yeah.
Yeah,
Going
yeah,
on, yeah.
So you
yeah.
mentioned previously when we was chatting, when we were setting the interview up, that you've met Clive Burr's wife, and was it
Me, yeah.
was it Steve Harris's sister?
Yeah, Linda was there Friday. Saturday night she comes to all our gigs at the Cart and Horses.
I
There you
suppose
go.
she's probably still local, isn't she? I'd imagine.
That's a
So,
seal of approval if ever you need one, isn't it?
yeah,
It's so, for me, it almost brings a tear to my eye because it's beyond my wildest dreams. When I'm stood on the Carlton Horses stage singing, I look across and there's, all right, Mimi wasn't there this time, but other times there's been Mimi, my wife Heidi, and Linda Harris sat together chatting like mates, and it's like, oh my god, oh my
yeah,
god,
yeah. That must
it's
be a feeling. Yeah,
yeah, it's very very humbling for me. I love it, and they're lovely people as well. Linda's so down to earth and lovely. She really is.
that's bang on,
And
man.
yeah,
And that's
You'd have to ask
it's
her
what it should
how
be,
many
though,
times
shouldn't
has
it?
she seen you, and how many times has she seen Iron Maiden? You can, if you ever meet Steve, you can
I
have a
think
little dig. You go, she's seen my band more than you. She
I think
prefers
it's her,
us. She
I
prefers
think it's her
us.
fourth time to see us now, Linda. She's seen us 4 times now.
Oh, bang on.
Yeah,
And say if she's still local, it's only up the road, isn't it? So it's so go down on a Saturday night, a few beers, listen to some music, and away you go.
yeah, 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 yes. It's great.
And you've met Steve as well.
I've met him at the Carlton Horses when British Lion played there in January.
Oh right, yeah.
So I had a photograph taken with him, shook his hand. Yeah, I witnessed as well. I suppose you could call it history. I witnessed Paul Sears, Dave Smith, and Steve Ash having a photograph taken together as well. So you got 3/4 of the original Gypsies Kiss lineup as well. I was there when that happened
So
outside.
that's a
So
monumental occasion, that one, isn't it?
and that was the date on that gig where I got asked by Dave Smith if I would sing for a band called the Legends, which Gypsies Kiss just done their 50th anniversary tour. And I think it's the last show this weekend in Porthcawl in South Wales. And I got asked by Dave Smith if I'd sing for the Legends, which opened up for Gypsies Kiss at the Carlton Horses, April 27th. Yeah. And the band was on the drums, Stuart Ems from Gypsies Kiss. On the bass guitar, Dwight Wharton from Buffalo Fish. Lead guitars, Terry Watram, Terry Rance, and me singing. And we did 8 songs in total. Dave came on to sing 3 of them. I did backing vocals, but we ended up singing those 3 songs together. We did, again, I've Got the Fire, the first time I ever sang it live. Drifter, Innocent Exile, Strange World, Prowler, Running Free, Iron Maiden. So I got asked to do that. I got asked to do the Paul Diano thing. I couldn't believe it. I've had a cracking year.
That was
That
that's my next question actually. How did you get the call? So
just after it was announced that Paul passed, there were rumours that the gigs might be being cancelled and they were looking for singers, potentially. So I messaged Stefan and I said, if needs be, if you're looking for anybody, I'm happy to help out to do a song, whatever. I thought nothing of it then. I got the message then from him, are you available to chat? So I phoned him. First of all, it was for the Manchester show, but I was unavailable because I was playing with Ion in Peterborough that night. So I turned that one down, and I thought, oh, I've turned it down. I'm never going to get asked anymore. Yeah. Then he asked me about Camden. There was already people who volunteered to sing a few songs. So I basically had a couple of songs, possibly from them. I don't know. But I got 4 songs that night. And yeah, it's just an honour to be doing it. Well, to be asked to do it.
Yeah, I say, that, but it was an honour. Like you're thinking, you've been asked to sing a tribute night for the man who lit the touch paper. The reason you're doing it, sort of thing. I bet that fucking hell. I bet that was a proper feeling.
Yeah, the first singer in Maiden I ever knew.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I bet that was amazing.
Yeah.
Proper feather in your cap. So anytime you doubt yourself, you think, no, I've got asked to do this. That's a proper confidence booster. That one. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Proper story.
I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it because I live all the way down on Portland in Dorset, and it's like, so on a Thursday night, I go work on the Friday. Spoke to my boss, and he went, "You can't turn it down." He said, "You can't. You have to do it." I went, "Okay." spoke to Heidi, and she said, "What are you asking? You have to do it."
Yeah.
Okay, so I booked a train. A mate of mine, an old army mate of mine, he comes to see all the gigs of the Carton Horses. Adrian Thomas, a fellow Welshman. He he had 2 tickets, and he asked me a while ago if I wanted to go with him, and I was like, I'm not sure yet because it's Thursday night or whatever. He's still serving in the army as well, so I stayed with him up in London in the barracks. So it all worked out. So I got a train up, met him. We went to the barracks, went up to Camden, did the show, went out for a few beers afterwards and a few more. And the next day was hell on the train coming back because I was dying.
That
After
serves you right for sobering up.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just because I stayed drunk. And then, yeah, it was just another one of those pinch yourself moments. I'm not actually on stage singing where he should be now at the minute.
Yeah.
Not, yeah.
Yeah, no, and you would have, for me, you would have highlighted night because I remember you come out and me and Joe were like, don't sort of who's this guy sort of thing, and then you open your mouth and it was like, right, that's why he's here, and
Well, yeah, the
like,
first guy said,
hell.
"Oh, I was Paul Di'Anno's drummer." And he had Gypsy's Kiss come out, and then like after you had the guy from Electric Gypsy, so we all knew who everyone was, or the guy we didn't. And you come out and just went, right, this is a song. And you said a little bit about what you've got the album for Christmas when you were 7 years old and whatnot. And I was like, yeah, good. And then like you did your bit, and then you just went. It was like, yeah, but who was he? And it was only I think you posted like, oh, I'm on the train on the way to the gig.
Yeah.
And that's when I clicked on the link, and yeah, then it all fell into place. And that's what I said. It all makes sense now. He's in an Iron Maiden tribute
That's it.
group.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, we was you were the subject of conversation on the way home in the car, wasn't it? It was like that guy's fucking voice was like top notch, mate. It was
Very much. Thank you.
really cool, man. So it's because I've seen Ion Maiden a few times. I actually supported them back in the day in the Standard in Walthamstow. They've been going that long. One of my tin pot bands I was in, but I'd seen your name like Ion Maiden, but never had a chance to see you. And when Joe said who you were, my missus was like, "Oh yeah, they played Carton Horses all the time, and all the rest of it." But no, I mean, we're going to make sure we come and see you at Leo's Red Lion in Gravesend because we've recently discovered that venue, and it's our version, or say the South's version of KK's Steel Mill. It's a really good venue, and I think me and Joe and my wife, we're going to go along and see you there, see you tear it up.
Yeah. Come on down. Yeah, we got a great set planned for there as well.
Nice.
Well, I went on the band's page today. I was looking for photos to put together a thumbnail for tonight's show, and I was going to ask you tonight if you'd ever consider playing Southend Chinneries. And as I was going through, no, you've already played it. Tick. So there's that one answered as well.
Played in September. Another great venue.
Yeah,
that's a great. Yeah, I've played there. It's a good venue, right on the seafront. It's not the sort of place you'd expect it to be, but it's got a good reputation. It's a good venue.
Yeah.
So,
cracker.
yeah, you I guess then we can talk about the guests' journey with Maiden. Regular viewers already know ours. So yeah, we mentioned earlier you got bought the first album at 7 years old, and I guess this would have been the time as well. There is no phones, there is no Spotify. Kids, I know it's hard to imagine, but we used to have a record player that you would put on, get the needle, get these big earphones like that. And I suppose, the story is you would have just sat there with this massive bit of carb, and I guess you just fell into the album, I suppose.
Well, how it started is my father was a coal miner, and he used to have some books written by Dennis Wheatley. I can remember. There was like scary pictures on the front of the books.
Yeah, my mum had the same. My mum had the same books on her bookshelf, mate. I know.
Yeah, the devil rides out, the devil rides again. I remember the names of the books and vividly remember the scary pictures. I must have been about 5. And then as a couple of years went on, I started I can't say having an infatuation, but liking scary pictures, pictures of Dracula, pictures of pirates, skull and crossbones, blah, 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 blah. So, slightly diverting from there, from about I can't give a timeline, but it was definitely before Christmas 1980. I used to go up the village with my mother. She'd go shopping. I'd walk up the village with her, and a school friend of mine, his big brother, used to have his bedroom window wide open on a Saturday, and you could hear this music blasting out of it. I didn't know what the music was. All I could hear was this tune, and this tune every week we'd go up the shops at the same time. There'd be the same bit of music playing, and it is almost like synchronized to when we walked up. This part of the song would be playing. So my nan for Christmas bought me what she thought was a scary picture. It was Iron Maiden, the first album. When my dad put it on the record player for me, he played it through and he's like, "Oh, what is this? What? Oh, this isn't the Beatles. This isn't John Denver," and all that sort of stuff we used to love. And all of a sudden, this music, what my mate's big brother used to play at his bedroom window, was on this round thing where I had on this record, Phantom of the Opera.
Ah, brilliant.
And he was like, "That's the song what comes out of such and such's house." So anyway, because I didn't have a record player at age 7, I had a little tape recorder. My dad put it all into a tape for me, and I used to listen to it up in my bedroom. And then I saw it was either in a Look-In magazine or one of the one of the free newspapers as well, that soon to be released Iron Maiden's second LP, Killers. So I got my mum in the February. I saved some of my Christmas money. My mum to take me to Blackwood to Martin Luther record shop in Blackwood, and I bought the Killers album on the Friday when it came out. I think it was February the 14th, something like that.
How many people can say that? Bloody
Yeah,
hell.
that's it. Yeah.
And then, bearing in mind, I was just coming up 8 years old at the time. And then the Number of the Beast. Then, but so a few of us in school. One guy would take a tape recorder, and I'd take this tape with me. One of our mates' big brother was into Sabbath and Zeppelin, all that sort of stuff, and he used to go to the discos headbanging. He showed his brother how to headbang, and then his brother showed. I mean, there was a circle of us in the school playground, just stood there shaking our heads, just looking at it, just listening to a tape. And then Peace of Mind when it came out, Power Slave when it came out, Live After Death, blah 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 blah. The only ones I haven't been able to buy on the day is when I've been on operational tours when I was in the army, but I've had them bought, but not on the day. Yeah.
So you've did your interest ever wane? Did you like give them a few years off, or you've always been more or less on release day? You've had it full.
I can almost say it's an infatuation for me, because I listen to other bands, but I can pick favorite bands. I can pick favorite songs of other bands. I can't with Maiden. It's all or nothing.
Where were you with the X Factor? What side of the coin did you land on?
I loved it.
That's brilliant. Because
it had that name, Iron Maiden.
That's fucking excellent. Because the X Factor was the reason me and Joe started this podcast, because we'd always loved it. And obviously, with so many people were like, "Nah, not Maiden, Blaze is shit, this. And we started it, didn't we, with the sole intention of getting to the X Factor and just telling everybody why they should reconsider.
Yeah,
but to find someone who actually, to find an old school fan like yourself who's been there since the beginning, pretty much, who actually goes, "No, the X Factor's fucking great."
I think, when you do anything,
that's noteworthy.
Yeah, be it a podcast or a band or whatever it is you want to do, you need to sort of ask yourself, what can I say or do that isn't already being done? You know, what can I contribute that no one else has? And that was pretty much it. It was like and then it became like, oh, let's go at the beginning and just do the whole lot. But yeah, it was like we were sort of scratching our heads, going, what is it people aren't seeing, and why is it so fashionable to hate this album? But I'm the one that started late. I remember seeing Iron Maiden T-shirts and Iron Maiden album covers, and sort of having like what kid isn't into horror? Like even with like kids cartoons, like your Scooby Doo's and kids films like the Monster Squad and horror films. Anyway, like you're just into that sort of stuff. So Eddie straight away just jumps out at you, and my dad was into. I think Zeppelin was about as heavy as things got, really. That and Black Sabbath, and yeah, one of the big things I grew up, one of the biggest misconceptions was that Ozzy was Sabbath weren't worth listening to after Ozzy left. What a lie that was. um, so when it was, getting your pocket money and then you get your first job at the weekend and stuff like that, you start buying your own records. I was never really, it wasn't, I wasn't allowed to buy Maiden, but I would only hear what someone else in the house bought. And so when I really jumped on board with when Brave New World was kicking off, because that was sort of when the new resurgence of the band came along, and I rode that wave, and I avoided. Not so much I avoided those albums. I just bought them last because every time I read Kerrang or whatever, it was always like those albums weren't worth bothering with, and it was only just because building a collection that I got X Factor and Virtual 11 because it was like, well, how bad can they be? And I remember playing it in the car that time, the first time, and thinking, well, what was the fuss
What am I
about?
missing? Like, yeah,
Yeah, I was, and straight away, Sign of the Cross fell straight into place because I remembered that off of Rock in Rio, and yeah, just went from there. And then obviously when Blaze's solo albums and so forth, but yeah, that became our niche, our we're the X Factor defenders sort of thing.
I saw them on the X Factor tour in Hanover,
oh nice, yeah,
and the only thing which was different to me was not seeing Bruce on stage doing his stage actions. It was obviously Blaze is a completely different front man, but he stood around a lot more than Bruce did.
yeah. He was stationary, wasn't he? He'd do sort of the power poses, wouldn't he? Really be,
Yeah,
really almost really intense. Whereas, like you say, Bruce is running around like a maniac, but Blaze is a really was in Maiden because I saw him on that tour. That was my first ever gig. I saw him at Brixton, and he
yeah.
really was a intense front man. He was. I don't know if he was like that in Wolfsbane, but it was almost like he was putting on a persona for Maiden. He was like, right, I've got to be this intense front
It
man.
did,
I've got to,
yeah. It looked like a different band. If you just saw photos from that era, like Blaze looked like he was in a death metal band.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like he's got the stern look, hair in his face. All the photos looked dark, and yeah, when he was on stage, he was all like, it was always like he was brooding, and
yeah.
it,
It was,
it's.
yeah.
And he had an invisible hammer as well. He'd sing and he'd just do that.
Oh yes, that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, brilliant. He still does
Yeah,
that now. He's
But yeah,
I fucking love that guy. He's talk about a self-made man. He has literally got it worked out, probably better than most chart toppers. He does it for fun, and he
yeah,
pays for the next one with the current one.
he has
What a way to
got
do it.
there are millionaires in the music industry that must seethe with jealousy if they see the setup Blazers got, and it would go like, even if I'm playing arenas and all the rest of it, I would love to have that because Blaze can do what he wants.
Yeah,
He's got a fantastic relationship with the fans, and he has this perfect, self-regulating thing where this money comes in, pays for the album. Album goes out, tour, money, and he's managed to make a living out of it and pay for itself as well. And yeah, the relationship he has with the fans and the thing what he has with them. Yeah, like I say, there must be bands that sell out arenas that would
yeah.
kill for that because he doesn't have to deal with any of the record label bullshit.
No,
Doesn't
no.
really have to deal with the media anymore. He's past
I
that.
bet.
Doesn't need to do, mate.
I bet he went to the Rod Smallwood school. That he must have when the split happened. I imagine he spoke to Rod because Rod, we all know, Rod was instrumental in Maiden anyway. And
Yeah.
I imagine he's given Blaze some tips, and it's taken a while to get to fruition because obviously he had a load of grief. But I imagine he has taken advice from Rod because it's a very Rod like, you know. Rod didn't fuck about. He was like, no, this is
Oh,
this,
he
this is
definitely would have
this.
picked up. He definitely would have picked up. Yeah, the the regiment, shall we
Yeah,
say? But yeah, I mean, nothing but respect for Blaze. The guy's been
no,
to hell and back, quite literally.
I think the Blades albums are great, and there's some. I mean, as I said, I can't pick a favorite song, but there are songs which I will play again and again and again and again on the Blaze songs. I
Oh
love
yeah.
Como Amigos. That's beautiful.
Oh, that is an amazing song. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's such oh yeah, so underrated. It's not even funny.
And the Yannick and Dave harmonies on When Two Worlds Collide and things like that.
Oh yeah,
an educated when they play it live, it's like, what? That's brilliant.
yeah,
Well, that's another thing from our show is,
yeah.
Yannick is
Yannick
the unspoken hero of the band, and again, he's another one that gets a load of flack
gets a
for
load of abuse and all the rest of it. And yeah, we
nothing.
did an episode defending him because we were pissed off. It was like, look, the guy has written some of Maiden. Like, go and listen to some of your favourite Maiden songs. Have a look who wrote them. Chances are, Yannick was involved in some way or another.
Yeah.
The guy's integral to the band.
And the guy was no slouch to begin with. Like, look at his CV before joining Maiden. If he had retired before joining Maiden, he still would have been able to retire like with a CV
Yeah,
to be proud of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if Maiden didn't snap him up, I'm sure someone elsewhere would have as well.
oh yeah, he would have done. Yeah. Speaking of
I
him,
think
see, he stacked it on
I think
stage
he
the other
suits
night.
Maiden. I think he suits Maiden because you've got Dave and Adrian, phenomenal players, and then you got Yannick, the crazy one, off to the left.
Yep.
That complements them all.
So what we were saying, wasn't it, Joe? It's like he he's a different part. You know, Dave is the blazing soloist. Adrian is the muso, the bluesy, heartfelt solos from the soul. And then there's Yannick swinging his fucking guitar around
Mm.
his head,
Yeah.
stacking it, putting his leg on the amp. Who gives a shit? He's a showman, absolute showman. And him and Bruce together, you've got the other four. Obviously, you can't see Nico, but the other three on stage don't really, I mean, Steve jumps about and all the rest of it, but Yannick and Bruce, that's why Maiden are still Maiden now, because they've got this perfect mix.
They've got the perfect chemistry, yeah.
They have
There's not
perfect
one thing to
ingredients.
watch on stage. Your eyes are everywhere, sort of.
That's it. There's always something to see, isn't there? It's
Yeah.
brilliant. Because that's one of my
And
bugbears. Is a band that are top notch musicians, but they just they don't move. I had it the other night. I don't know if you know the band Ginger. They're
No.
from the Ukraine. They're quite heavy. They supported Sepultura on their farewell tour, and
Okay.
they're a phenomenal band. They're obviously modern metal, so they're heavy, technical, brilliant players, but they don't move. And there's
No.
no, I was watching them, and I'm like, yeah, the music's great, but there's nothing to look at. And I'd much sooner see a band who are just like a band for the Yannicks, just limbs. People are into it. Yeah, you hit a bum note, so who cares? You're putting on a show, and I'd much rather see that. And that's what Maiden scratched that itch for us now.
I think that's what makes a tribute band as well, is not to be absolutely identical, like, but to be as close as you can, but still having that element of yourself in there as well.
put your own
Like,
little edge on. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier about the, coming
yeah,
out in a wig, like I'm
Yeah,
dressing
I tried
just
a, I
like
tried a
X-Pro.
wig once. I tried a wig once, and halfway through Aces High, I was eating it, so I just had to come off because I couldn't get
yeah,
it.
been
Yeah,
that one,
but
been that one
yeah,
off.
I mean, I've seen lots of bands in various pubs, and I've had lots of bands in my pub, in my old pub, where you might as well have a karaoke, you might as well have a tape recorder on and cardboard cutouts,
Yeah,
and it's like, and all they do then is thank you, pay, pack up, and leave. Where if I'm going to be singing a Maiden tribute band, if Bruce runs around, I might not always look like him, but I've got to act like him.
yeah.
I've got to do the running around bit, and yeah, because it wouldn't be a Maiden tribute band otherwise.
No, that's it. You got to, like you say, you've got to try and emulate what they do, mate. Put your own stamp on it. But people are coming to see a Maiden tribute band. They would expect there's certain elements you've got to put on the floor. Like you say,
Yeah,
you've got to leave your own mark, but like you say, you've got to run around like a lunatic, or as much as you can anyway. You know,
It seems like you've got a lot going on with the show as well. I mean, are you hoping as you're looking to play like bigger venues and then you can expand on the stage show at all? I mean, obviously you're gonna have an Eddie coming out. You've got the Egyptian tombstone. Have you got a few other bits that you play with
um,
according to size of the venues and
Eddie is a rarity at the minute. We're trying to get someone to be an Eddie, but it's getting someone to come with us all the time to do it, and that's the thing. You can't just randomly pick someone from the crowd. Like up at the Carton
That should be
Horses.
like a competition. You should.
Yeah, yeah. Up at the Carton Horses, the I think he's the head of the unofficial fan club, Mark Richardson. Whenever we play there, he dons the Eddie outfit. He comes out in it. So we guaranteed an Eddie at the Carton Horses. Another guy is the drummer's friend, Jace. He's in another band with Craig, the drummer, called Cranked. If Jace comes along, sometimes he dons the Eddie outfit and comes out. But 7 times out of 10, we don't have an Eddie. It's just I got my props. I got my flag for the trooper. When we play in Cardiff a week Saturday, I take the Welsh flag. I've got my Power Slave mask, which I made. Doesn't look exactly like it, but it does. People know what it is, and it does the job. A couple of feathers and a couple of bits and pieces.
Yeah, straight away you get the
Close
gist.
enough,
You know
yeah.
what that's for.
Yeah. For Harley with their name, I run around with a noose on my neck. Hope I don't catch on anything.
Oh, Jesus.
For Fear of the Dark,
I guess
top hat, cloak, and the lantern.
brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce doesn't use the same things on every tour, but we sort of bring every tour into one show. Try to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and that's why you are selling out venues a year in advance. You know, because your punters want to see you. You know, it's brilliant. So you know, fair play. You know, can't.
And as for stage costumes, I've got elements of most of them. Sometimes I think, should I mix them up? Is someone going to notice? Oh, sod it, why not? So sometimes I might wear the top half of Somewhere Back in Time and the bottom half of the Fear of the Dark tour. So you know, just why not?
Well, yeah, it's all part of the DNA of the band, isn't it? You know, it's mix and match, like you say, and there's something fresh rather than it's Fear of the Dark, it's going to be the lantern. It's Power Slave, it's going to be the mask. You know, like you say, fucking wear them at different points or mix and match. Yeah, no, you've got to try and you're putting your stamp on it, aren't you? Like you say, you know, it's a.
And all the guys put their stamp on as well. Like Craig, you'd think he was Clive Burr because he sounds exactly like him. He is. Yeah, well, yeah, he is Clive Burr. You got Steve. He plays the Adrian parts. You'd think if you close your eyes, you think it's Adrian playing. Likewise with Neil.
Yeah.
Was Dave. Absolutely phenomenal. And they got the Adrian Gabe guitar, the Jacksons. They got the Strats. They got all that. And Steve's got a gold top like Adrian's old gold top. We've got a new bassist. Well, he's not new in the Maiden tribute world, but he's new for us. Starting with us in Cardiff on the 7th. Simon Spence is joining Ion Maiden.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he was the guy that was playing with Paul's back or high. It's High on Maiden, yeah.
He's the High on Maiden bassist, but our bassist Paul O'Shea, lovely guy. He's got for personal reasons he's having to step back a bit. He's going to help us out now on the shows where Simon's unavailable because Simon's still with Ion, but with High on. I asked him, and he asked, and he agreed straight away. He is Steve Harris II.
Oh, he is. When you see him, you double take, don't you? When I've seen him before, it's like, what? You know, he loves it, and he's full on. No, that's brilliant. That shows the camaraderie. He's like, no, it's Maiden. I'm there. Is it another band? Yeah, I don't care. It's Maiden. You know, so that's brilliant.
So not trying to take him from High on because that's his band. We're just happy that he's happy to play with us as well, and we work our gigs around it. So it clash as little as possible. Paul and we've got another very, very well-known bassist is gonna if another very well-known bassist is in the wings as well for if required.
Not Harry Harris, is it?
Yeah.
Not quite.
I'm trying to think who it was when you said, "Oh, you guys, if you close your eyes, you think it was with David Murray." And I'm trying to think who it was. It was someone he went to. He ended up seeing a tribute band of his band, and he said to the guitarist, "I can't remember who it was," but he said to the guitarist, "Listen, I've got to ask you, how did you get the tone or something? Because I can't remember how I did it." So, I mean, well, I've got to ask then. if how many times have you seen Maiden live?
Birmingham NEC next year on my birthday will be my 49th, and not the O2, London Stadium will be my 50th.
50th gig for the 50th anniversary.
Which means I would have seen
that's
Steve
poetic.
Harris 53 times because I've seen him three times a British Lion.
You know?
And I guess the first time you would have seen him would have been with Bruce. You wouldn't have seen him with Paul. You would have been too young to
Yeah, Bruce.
obviously
Yeah,
see.
Donington, 1988.
What did you think at the time then? Because obviously you saw the change with Blaze, but yeah, you had Killers the day it came out. What did you think with when Bruce joined the band? Because obviously it was a success and it was the right
Yeah.
choice to make. But I'm under the understanding that some people didn't quite take to Bruce at first. He did actually have to sort of win people over, and I think he really kind of brought his own audience
To be
to the
honest,
band.
I didn't really know about Bruce joining Maiden because I just had the records and the music. I didn't quite understand what music was. I just liked, I didn't know where Arcadia Avenue was. I didn't know who Charlotte the Harlot was. I didn't know what a harlot was. It was like
Neither do we.
innocent.
What is it?
Well, it's a young lady who works in London.
Oh right.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
It was I didn't really know that he joined Iron Maiden really until Run to the Hills came out, until I saw a different singer.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can remember
I heard a similar review actually. He said he didn't realize there's no singer until he got the
I
record
can
home and
remember,
was like, what the hell? Yeah.
I can remember Cordiano leaving, and his last show was September the 10th, but I don't remember the bit in between,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. And then I can remember seeing them on Tiswas then when they all got flan fling with the same flan flinger.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and well, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because that's where the air raid siren moniker came from, wasn't it? Because that geezer was like, I don't like hearing my favourite songs sung through an air raid siren.
Yeah, like an airways siren in a cement mixer.
That's it.
Yeah, but I can sort of remember it happening, but I don't remember him joining. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. There was like I was like 8.5 then, and there was like bits skipping out and
Yeah.
bad school reports putting me off and having my music taken off because it was blamed for my bad schooling. Yeah.
So you haven't got a favorite album, but do you think you've got a favorite live show? Or a favorite era?
Favorite live show? I don't know. I'm not saying they get better every time I see them because I can't pick a favorite, but every live show is different. Like when I saw them on the Brave New World tour, I think I saw them about 15 times. And they played Out of the Silent Planet on one of the shows. They played Fallen Angel on another show. They added different songs in. Not saying it was better, but it was different. It was like, whoa, that's cool.
That was the fan club shows, wasn't it? They did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at one of them at Shepherd's Bush.
One of mine was in America.
All right, cool. So they probably used the fan club as a guinea pig because they played 2 shows at Shepherd's Bush Empire. It was like, Christ, seeing them in that venue that small, that was unbelievable. So and they played Out of the Silent Planet and Fallen Angel. So
yeah. Memorable shows, every one of them really. I can remember bits of every show I've seen them at. First show was Donington 1988. That was amazing. Again, the 2 shows last year at the O2, we done the Friday and the Saturday. Me and my wife did. I've got her into Maiden for the way as well. Both those shows were phenomenal, but we sat in 2 different places. So they both looked like different shows.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I did that because I did both. I was like ground level for one of them, and then the second one I got tickets on at last, so I was right in I could touch the ceiling sort of thing. And like you say, you get 2 different aspects of it.
Yeah. Well, we went up on for the Friday show, We went to the Cart and Horses on the Thursday night for Ed Hunter's European Maiden tribute, who are phenomenal. We watched them at the Cart and Horses, and then, but on the way up, I said to Heidi, he goes, I wish we could do the Saturday as well. She went, well, 2 nights on the bounce. I went, well, yeah. So she goes on her phone and she goes, all right, I've booked the tickets. I was like, what? So on the Friday night, we were in the seats right opposite the stage. The stage was looking at us. We were in the seats looking there. On the Saturday night, she enjoyed the gig, but she didn't enjoy the experience because we were up in the gods,
Yeah.
right up at the top of the arena. And when you're looking down, you can just see people's head.
Get vertigo, yeah.
She won the best of. Pleased with that now. But she enjoyed the gig.
Yeah.
Well, I did. Yeah. But as for favourite show, I don't know. I think it. I don't know. I used to love going down the front when I was younger. I love sitting back and watching it now. So for various reasons, all the shows are different. They're all really, really memorable. They're all my favourite. How's that?
Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah, it's you're like me. I like sitting back now. I like taking it in, watching the
Yeah.
band, watching the screens. You know, watching what each the interactions. I think I've always been that way because I'm a muso anyway. So I like watching. I'll sit there and watch Nico all day. You know, I'll
Yeah.
fixate, try and see him over the top of his ridiculous tom rack. But then, like say, watch the others, watch them bounce off each other, watch the little interplay. You know,
Well, you
Yeah.
saw in the Q&A with Nico, it was the band that forced him to put that up
yeah,
because he's the best looking one in the band.
that's it. Yeah,
And
that's his story, and he's
yeah,
sticking to it.
yeah, the band were all jealous and none of them could get a girlfriend and whatnot. So yeah, Rod came up with a compromise. Right, if we put the drums up so no one can see him, you all get a fighting chance. And it's like, oh well, that's what I've got to
Yeah,
do.
we'll do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I say, that's the story, and he's sticking to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Luke,
Great.
have you got anything you want to add?
No, I think we've sort of covered, you know, for me as this, you know, your journey, like I say, that's the reason we did it was we've told our journey, a lot your journey, brilliant. Obviously being there, you know, at that time, obviously I came along, I was there when I was 3, but I was too young to do it. And it was only when I got into school that I, you know, a bit older, but hearing the journey from a man who was there. But, you know, are you thinking about going abroad with the band, or is it going to be a UK only thing?
We're playing Jersey next year.
Oh, right.
And then who knows from there?
Say
Who
because
knows from there?
if the European tribute band can come over here, obviously they're playing the Cart and Horses, so it's, you know, they're coming to hallowed ground. But there must be a call for, like I said, everyone. You could have 10 different tribute bands, 10 different nights, and they'd all sell out because it's all a different angle on it. So I'd imagine you guys would go down a storm in Europe.
We've been asked a question. It's just when everybody can get together to do it.
That's the thing, isn't it? You got to
Just
trade in your
not
annual
off the
leave and all the
table,
rest of it.
just
It's
yeah. I guess then a closing question, and the reason I want to start getting people onto the show to discuss Maiden is, what do you think is that X factor, shall we say? What is it about Maiden that gives them the loyal audience that they've got? Like I said before, no one just has an Iron Maiden best of, or no one has the one album that they listen to that summer. Everyone has the Maiden collection. Everyone has a room like yourselves. Everyone's got, like, you know, the Maiden corner. What is it about Maiden that you think just brings that spark and brings that loyalty out in people?
Because it's Iron Maiden. Um,
simple as that.
I It's everything about it. It's the music. It's them as people. They're down to earth. They're not, you know. All right, some people might have opinions on different members that they don't chat. Well, that might be the different member having an off day, you know.
Yeah,
But
that's it, isn't it? You know.
I've seen Bruce doing his an evening with, and he was so down to earth. He was a lovely guy. Other people say that he can be quite rude. Other people say that another member doesn't want to talk to him. All right, yeah, you know, they should make time for everybody, but sometimes they need a bit of, you know, their own space as well. But I just think I just think it's everything about them. You know, they will. It's the music, the live feeling, and them as people. Really, it's Maiden, isn't it?
The full package. Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, Joe, it is the X factor. It's that unquantifiable thing. You can't put your finger on it. It's just all the elements that they bring. They all fit together, and you can't say why. It's just because,
You just
like
recognise
Cole
it
said,
when you see
like
it.
Cole said,
Yeah.
it's Iron Maiden.
And when you see them live on stage, there's no competition. There's no I'm a better guitarist than you. I'm going to do the loudest, longest solo. They compliment and bounce.
Yep.
You know, Steve
Yeah.
he doesn't stand in Dave's way when Dave's doing a solo, so Steve can be seen. They compliment it. They move so they work the crowd.
Yeah.
And they play it exactly as they do live studio. Well, there might be the odd change on a solo, but they play what you get on the album. You know, you're getting live. Some bands you play live, you think, what's that song? What album was that on? And they play one of their best known hits, but they can't play it right.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, like you say, Maiden, the solo might differ a little bit, but it's there. You can pick it out, and you close your eyes and go, "That's Dave. That's Jan." You know. So yeah, like you say, they are, and they've had it since the beginning because they've never been about that. Because if you look at early footage from the Ruskin Arms, I think Steve Harris is in the same position on the stage that it'll be at the London Stadium 50 years later, or like 45 years later. They've worked it out, so it's not about them, it's about them. And you've hit the nail on the head. There's no ego, there's no thing, man. It's the collective parts working to make it perfect. And
absolutely spot on.
Yeah, well, Carl, thanks so much for coming on the show. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you.
Thanks for giving up your time, man. Much appreciated.
So, Iron Maiden, Fully Charged. Let people know where they can find you.
Our next and last show of the year is Fuel Rock Club in Cardiff on Saturday the 7th of December. And then we bounce back then January the 10th. We're at MK11 or MK11, where we call it in Milton Keynes. The 11th, we're in Leo's Red Lion.
We'll be there.
25th at the Patriot in South Wales, a mile and a half from where I grew up. And then the end of January, then we're at Club 85 in Hitchin, and February the 1st in the Brickmakers in Norwich.
Right. So, yeah, we will put the band's Facebook page and the band's website in the description to the video. If you've got if you want to go to the Cart and Horses show, we'll put links to get tickets to that show. But if you're wherever you are, you can check out the band's website and get tickets to the show wherever they're playing, because they're going to be playing near you eventually.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching, everyone. Carl, thanks for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And
remember, folks,
just a reminder, Cart and Horses, 46 tickets sold so far. And it's only 120 capacity.
Well, get in there quick, guys.
It's
going to go.
Just over 24 hours.
Yeah. So get in there, folks.
You've been warned, guys. If you don't buy them, they're going to go. So
thank you very much.
Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time. Maidencast signing out.